I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 82, Army Men Sarge's Heroes. Released in 1999, this game was developed and published by 3DO. I was so excited for this one. I'd played maybe 30 or 40 games for the N64 as a kid, but most of them I've either played again as an adult, or I've watched someone else play them in videos or streams. This is one of the few I have neither played nor seen since I was a little kid. Now the thing is, the way I played this as a kid was exclusively in multiplayer. There's that map where you fight in the bathroom and oh man, my friends and I spent so much time in this one. I'm not sure if I ever even attempted the campaign back then, but as you know, this series is about the single player experience of each game. This game does have a single player campaign mode, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. Before starting the campaign, you have the option to do the boot camp. Basically just a tutorial on how the game works. The gameplay, it's a third-person shooter. We play as Sarge, one of the Green Army Men. I don't know about in other countries, but in the US at least, these plastic army men were really popular toys for children when I was growing up. But yeah, in boot camp you get to experience all the different weapons you come across in-game. There's a first-person view as well, which is really useful for the sniper rifle. After messing around with all the different weapons, there's an obstacle course to test your skills. This teaches you a bit about the running and jumping of the game. It's a bit janky for sure, but it was decent for the time. They did the ledge climbing really well, I thought. Anyway, the boot camp is completely optional. It's just there if you need it. I went into the full campaign after where we learned the story of the game. There's a world quite different from our own. A massive battle wages between good and evil, between green and tan. And then it immediately cuts to the first level. The objectives are to find and rescue Grimm, then escort him to the helipad. And that's about all you get for guidance. Although there is a mini-map in the corner showing the location of the current objective. Your health is in the top center and your current weapon and ammo in the top right. There's an image of Sarge's head in the top left that gets progressively worse as your health decreases. The platforming and shooting physics still felt quite solid in my opinion, but the one glaring issue I noticed right away is the camera. It just does not like to cooperate, and adjusting it on your own is so slow. Of course, a lot of these early 3D games struggled with the camera, but yeah, we had to start somewhere to get where we are today, you know? Anyway, this first mission's not really a tutorial, but it's quite easy with so many health pickups along the way. You just start in the barracks of the Green Army and have to find Grimm for whatever reason. Tan soldiers are all over the place and they're ruthless. They even blasted a bunch of my fellow troops with a flamethrower. After getting out of the base, I found Colonel Grimm just laying down on a bridge taking a nap or something. He tells us Bravo Company have been captured by General Plastro's army. Then we notice that he's injured, but he says, it's just a plastic wound, I'll be fine. After finding him, you just run to the helipad like normal, and he follows you without doing anything. A bit into this escort mission, I ran into something quite unique this game has, a minefield. Sometimes you run into these and have to use a mine detector to get through safely. Well, you don't have to, but then you're just gambling. I remembered that animation of Sarge pointing out the mines really vividly when I saw it again. There was a tank just past the minefield that I blew up with a bazooka, then I was on my way. It's real easy to make it to the helicopter. It says they escaped just before the green base was overrun by tan troops. After each mission, it gives you a stat screen with kills, completion time, and a code to get back to that part of the campaign. So now it's just a cutscene with Sarge and Colonel Grimm flying around in a helicopter. They see a blue tank below who they suspect must be a spy. Sarge is sent down to investigate. The only objective is locate the spy. When you go to a new mission, you lose all your weapons other than the basic M16. It makes sense for like a game balance standpoint, but it'd be nice if they made it fit into the story somehow. The mission starts with you running down a path, killing a bunch of bad guys. The path slowly leads to a town, which is pretty heavily fortified. Getting to the town is easy, but in the town there's quite a few enemy troops, including a big old tank that blew me up. It's not all that hard to die in this game, especially from more powerful weapons. If you do die, you go all the way back to the start of the mission. No concept of checkpoints, which is really unfortunate. It actually took me a few tries to get past that tank. The bazooka is the best at taking them out, but there really wasn't one around to see. I found a pretty good safe spot though with the grenade launcher where it was too far away to notice me, and it was easy to blow it up. Venturing further into the village, I found the blue tank from that cutscene earlier, and there were tons of tan troops around it. I killed all those dudes and went around back to find a massive blue portal. Sarge chases the blue troop inside, but says he's got a bad feeling about this. Once on the other side of the portal, it's just completely wild. There's a giant bathtub and we're in somebody's home. Man, this level was just such an iconic map to play multiplayer in. It's restricted to just the bathtub, but man, that bathroom level, just so many memories. Anyway, in this campaign version of the level, we have to navigate our way through the bathtub to reach the blue soldier, then back around the way we came to escort him to the portal. This bathtub has all kinds of cool stuff. Soap, shampoo bottles, even a rubber ducky. And there's a bunch of children's letter blocks as well for some reason. But yeah, this mission's pretty chill for the most part. There's plenty of things to use for cover and lots of health pickups. There is a slight problem at the end though. Some dude's chilling on a ledge with a flamethrower. Somehow I survived with like no health left, thank God. Colonel Grimm says hopefully the spy will reveal info about a strange energy field. Then it shows a live feed from Fort Plastro. General Plastro is all hype about the success of his attack on the Green Army base when a tan troop barges in and tells him Sarge and Grimm have escaped and discovered one of their portals. Plastro is livid and just punches him right through a window.
Falcon punch!
But then he talks about a video that will make Colonel Grimm reconsider his position, and it shows green soldiers burning alive under magnifying glasses. What the heck, man? This guy is insane. Grimm is in disbelief at this new weapon, the Death Ray. Apparently it came from a different dimension, using portals such as the one that took us to the bathtub. We've learned Bravo Company are being held hostage at different locations, so our main priority is get them back together. First, we must rescue the Bazooka Man, Riff. This mission starts out kind of annoying because there's a big old tank next to where you spawn, and the only options to deal with it are run past it or use mines and grenades. None of them are very good, but it's better to destroy it, I think. Just takes quite a while. Other than that tank, there's not really anything to worry about for the most part. Once getting into the tan base, it plays a brief cutscene saying your escape will be easier if you take out more troops on the way in. There's a few tanks in the base, but I use the roofs of the barracks to safe spot them easily. The barracks is segmented in multiple sections separated by gates you have to open. I was trying to throw some grenades over a wall to kill a tank when I just blew up out of nowhere and I died instantly. I don't know if somehow the grenade bounced back and hit me or if something else blew me up. Regardless, it was back to the very start of the mission for me. So after doing all that over again, I made my way to the heart of the base. It just warned me out of nowhere that a fuse had been lit and I only had 60 seconds to rescue Riff. Good thing I had absolutely no idea what it wanted me to do. Thankfully, all I had to do was run up to him and it saves him automatically. What's really interesting is it seems like the timer continues counting down during this unskippable cutscene. I don't know if you die if it runs out during or immediately after it, I'm honestly not sure. From here, it's just running back the way I came to bring Riff to an evac helicopter. Definitely nothing that can go horribly wrong here. I mean, I've already been through all this stuff once before. Yeah, that's definitely not good. The game decided it wanted to freeze up when I was just a tiny bit away from the helicopter. That meant I had to do the entire mission all over again. How fun. If you don't know, the game has no concept of checkpoints, like between each objective, nothing. If you die, it's back to the very, very beginning. I feel like this is a good time to talk about the music and graphics in this game. I personally think the graphics, they're about average, I guess, maybe a bit below. They clearly went for a more cartoony feel to be in line with the Army Men toys, but it's still kind of rough looking regardless. The frame rate drops a bit too, which isn't too surprising for the N64, but there's a lot of games that pulled off a stable frame rate. I thought the music in this is really good though. It gives off a very good mix of sounding like military music, but it still has that feel that you're in a video game. Then there's the stark contrast of heavy guitar when you're in the alternate dimension levels. I think they did a great job with it. Anyway, I did that stuff all over again. This time, the game didn't crash at the end. Now we get another lore update. Colonel Grimm's recording a video saying the Green Army will stop General Plastro and all his super weapons. We also get our first glimpse at Grimm's daughter, Vicky. Why the heck is she like a human-looking person but with only green features? I don't know, this game is weird sometimes. She wants to know where Plastro is getting the super weapons, but Grimm says it's highly classified. Then Sarge comes in and they talk about the portals, and of course Vicky overhears. Grimm says our next order is to go to the Black Forest to rescue our machine gunner Thick and our minesweeper Hoover. This mission has just one objective: cross the bridge. But as you might guess, it's not so easy. The bridge is at the end of a huge windy path through the forest, and there's all kinds of tan troops to stop you. I'll admit, it's a nice change in scenery to be in the woods rather than some military encampment. There was this section with a stream of water and rocks lined across it. It's basically a janky platforming section which doesn't work all that well. Outside of that, this one it's pretty uneventful. I beat it first try with no trouble. As Sarge crosses the bridge, it gets blown up by a tan helicopter. Guess we're not going back that way anytime soon. The bridge is essentially the halfway point through the forest, so this mission is to make it to the other half. The objectives are to locate and rescue Hoover and enter the enemy camp in their portal. That last mission was pretty free, but this one not so much. I made my way to the camp where Hoover was, but yeah, it's kind of fortified heavily and I got blown up. RIP. This was the first mission where I had multiple deaths. It's actually kind of ridiculous how many enemies there are at this location. The best strat I found was to get just close enough to spawn the enemies, then snipe them from really far away. If you get far enough, they won't target you. However, if you get too far away, then you can't hit them. It's like a sweet spot, you know, like Goldilocks or something like that. Not too far, but not too close. Getting past the horde of troops is only the beginning though. There's another one of those janky platforming sections over water just past them. I said earlier the platforming's decent in this, but it's only really for climbing things. For like jumping across platforms like this, it just does not feel good. Oh man, I was getting so frustrated with this mission and I hadn't even completed one objective yet. Finally, after a few deaths, I ran into Hoover. He says there's a portal on the other side of a large minefield. He's supposed to be our minesweeper, but he's all scared, so I guess we're on our own. I very carefully searched for mines because, oh my god, I did not want to have to do all that over again. Thankfully, I didn't slip up and made it to the base relatively safely. The portal was sitting there so close. I just had to make it across this final area to end the mission. I sniped tons of people and blew up the tank, and I was home free. Finally, done with that cursed level. After that, Sarge comes out of the portal and he's in a big garden. There's tons of dead green soldiers littered on the ground around the portal. Sarge is gonna make someone pay. The objectives here are to locate Thick and take him back to the portal. This one is way bigger than the bathtub level. Essentially, there's a bunch of large areas between planters where enemies can be found, but they're also on top of the planters too. It took so long to make it to the end once, and I had to make it all the way back afterwards. Making it a bit through, I climbed up onto one of those planters. Along with a minefield and tan troops, there was a big ant. It's actually able to kill you, so I did what needed to be done. This level has you traveling such a big distance, and there's just enemies everywhere. One slip up could be your end. The level also introduces a new hazard to deal with, enemy helicopters. They can be really hard to hit, and you can only take them down with a bazooka really. If it spots you, you're probably dead unless you have some cover. There was another one super far away, and I sniped it with the bazooka. Quite possibly my best play yet. Wow, I actually got them. Wow. Finally though, after over 20 minutes of moving along corridors, I made it to where Thick was located. Basically, this is a spot where the grass really needs cut. It's kinda nice though because the grass serves as cover that you can see enemy troops through. The area is very, very dangerous. So many tanks, troops, even ants. Luckily, I didn't die after getting dropped down to basically 0 health. When I met up with Thick, he thought we were just going to leave him behind, but come on man, we'd never do that. We'd tell him to meet us back at the portal. Not sure how he can just get up there on his own, like why couldn't he have done that before? Regardless, we have to travel all the way back to the portal the way we came. No checkpoint either. I was insanely stressed about dying and having to do that all again. Thankfully, it did feel like there were less troops on the way back, and I made it safely. As Thick and Sarge are flying away, we see Vicky, of all people, doing a news broadcast outside the portal, saying the Green Army has determined where the Tan Army gets their weapons from. She's being absolutely reckless and gets captured by the Tan troops. It then cuts to General Plastro, who has one of his troops tied up to a stick of dynamite, and he is mad. Just before he loses it, another troop comes in and tells him they captured the colonel's daughter. He's thrilled with this news and celebrates with fireworks. Guess that guy died anyway. Grimm learns Plastro captured Vicky, so Sarge decides he must save her. Then it shows troops interrogating Vicky and Plastro walks in. She starts doing some weird gestures, and they say they should work together. Finally, Grimm tells us before we rescue Vicky, we need to go to the ice station Gulag to rescue our mortar man, Shrap. This is more of a stealth mission, as if we fire shots outside the station, it will alert all the guards. We've got to disable the security on the fence first. A complete change of pace in this one. It's really dark and snowy. Along with that, you've got to try to be more methodical with where you move rather than just running in all willy-nilly. It's not that you literally can't shoot people, but you've got to avoid them hitting an alarm. The sniper is so useful here. Actually, looking back at this footage, I'm not even sure there is a threat of an alarm. Here I am blowing up a tank, which should easily alert the people in the base, right? I don't know. And then here I am shooting down a helicopter. These guys are either insanely clueless, or the stealth aspect is just bugged. I made my way to the corner of the fence and I found a surge protector. Flipping the switch on it disabled the fence, making it safe to infiltrate the base. Surprisingly, I beat this one first try. Grimm tells us to continue saving Shrap, but also release any gray prisoners we may come across. This level layout's a bit different in that it's 7 square compounds where you need to clear them all out to advance to the next. It feels like a bunch of mini levels making up a single larger level. I kinda liked it. A new thing in this one is there's those gray prisoners Grimm mentioned. If you free them, they'll follow you around the level. Not sure where their alliance is supposed to lie, but honestly they're kind of useless. I think they're supposed to help you fight, but I don't know, they kind of suck. Also, that stealth thing from the previous mission's working now. If soldiers detect you, an alarm will go off. All it really does is make all the soldiers in the area stop patrolling and run towards you, so it's not that big of a deal. Making it to the section where Shrap's being held, we see a cutscene showing Tan troops leading gray ones into some machine that causes them to transform into spiders. Sarge is livid because he hates spiders, and you know what? So do I. Just before Shrap is forced inside, we run in to save the day. Shrap's thrilled we saved him and keeps calling us dude, and Sarge apparently hates being called dude. As usual, it's time to head back the way we came. Only have to make it to the one with the helipad at least, not all the way. Honestly, the hardest part of getting back was having Shrap get through these double gates. Like, he just did not want to cooperate. I was getting so annoyed with him. Luckily, it wasn't a soft lock, and I did get him to walk through. It wasn't too tough getting back, and we made it to the evac safely. So then we get a really weird cutscene. Plastro is talking about world domination, and Vicky calls him sweetie. And yeah, what's she doing those poses for? Oh my god, why is she the only one not fully green? What the heck? It's just so weird. So then Plastro is giving a big speech saying he gives the Green Army 48 hours to surrender. Grimm thinks they have no choice, but Sarge suggests if he destroys the last portal, it would even the odds. However, the last one is in the heart of Fort Plastro. It's a 1 in a million chance. Good enough odds for Sarge though. This mission starts with us storming the beaches just like they did back in the day. You know, all those crazy spring breakers. Anyway, we have to infiltrate Plastro's fort to enter the final portal. The first order of business is to sneak around back and disable the electric fence. There's just so many troops guarding the place though, it's insane. Somehow I did get past all of them to the surge protector. Flipping the switch turned the fence off just fine. Getting past the fence is only the beginning though. Inside the base itself it gets even crazier. Like, look at this dude, he's just spamming the flamethrower hoping I walk up to him so he can burn me. Of course, I'm not that dumb, so I stayed far, far away. But then another guy had a flamethrower and I did get killed. Dang it. After a while, I made it deep into the fort, and this place is kind of weird. There's buildings that look like it's a full-on town, but isn't it supposed to be a military fort? Maybe that's how forts were back in the day, I don't really know. It got even weirder near the portal though. There was a big robot guarding it with massive machine gun hands. Kinda looks like the Megazord in Power Rangers. Luckily for me, I found a safe spot where it didn't even notice me. But then I realized there was a second robot, which I also found a safe spot for. Plastro's an idiot. Now we get a cutscene where Sarge drops into a sandy area with Plastro and some of his men, and Vicky's here with him. He says he'll kill Vicky if we don't drop our weapons, so we comply. But then Vicky says it was part of a plan to get Sarge here for a trap. What the heck, Vicky? Come on. Plastro orders us to be thrown in a pit, but Vicky wants to give us a goodbye kiss for some reason. Then, it plays some really weird voice audio. Yeah, whatever that was. Thankfully, they apparently didn't disarm our M16 because we spawn with one in this mission. The only objective here is to find Scorch and escort him to the portal. Something changed starting with this mission. The tan soldiers would dive and roll when you get near them. It's really annoying because they're invincible during that animation and they're harder to hit due to being in a prone position. Not only that, there was a super annoying part where there were two tan troops with machine guns. If one of the bullets hits you, Sarge just flinches and he can't shoot. And since there's two of them at once, you're just constantly flinching. It's like a permanent stun lock. I hated this part so much. Finally, after quite a few deaths, I did make it to Scorch. He's thankful we found him, but he doesn't want to be led back to the portal and says he'd rather be plastered. Sarge thinks he's talking about getting drunk, but apparently if someone stays in the portal dimension too long, they're frozen solid forever. He says Vicky told him that. Sarge is like, you shouldn't believe her, she's working with General Plastro, but Scorch says that's impossible. And then Sarge realizes when Vicky gave him that kiss, she actually gave him a film. They realize there's a secret portal out there. As usual, it's a lot shorter to get back than it was to make it to Scorch. Near the portal was a different story though. There was like 10 trillion troops surrounding it. I realized I had no chance to kill them, so I just made a run for it.
Move out!
Cannot believe that worked. So the film Vicky gave us has all of General Plastro's attack plans in complete detail. We decide to attack him at night just before his attack to catch him off guard. We've got to destroy all of his super weapons. This mission's really similar to the other one, we're just invading the fort again, but now it's at nighttime, and there's more enemies of course. After reaching the heart of the fort to open the main gate, we get a cutscene where Sarge radios in to the rest of his team, but they say they're completely pinned down by the giant robots. It's time to destroy those super weapons. Again, I found I could just stand around a corner and easily safe spot them. They're honestly not that good of weapons. Making it to the portal, we're greeted with a cutscene of Plastro being in a sandcastle, and he is livid that somehow the Green Army knew all of his plans. He deduces that Vicky must be the one who leaked them and knocks her down. Then they blow up the final portal with a stick of dynamite, but Sarge sneaks in at the last second. Time to save Vicky, I guess. This mission is ridiculous. First of all, there's a tank right at the start, but there's no weapons to deal with it, so you just have to run past it. But even worse is there's so many towers in this sandcastle, and they're littered with tan snipers. It's so easy to get picked off by one of them. The amount of enemies in this level compared to any of the previous, it's just unmatched. Once you get to the halfway point, there starts to be helicopters patrolling the area. These just add toward the chaos because they're hard to hit and they don't stop shooting at you. Finally, after so many attempts, I did get to the heart of the sandcastle. There was a tall tower of letter blocks, and there's a rocket of all things on top. Sarge grabs on and goes for the ride of his life. He ends up landing in the window of someone's home, entering the kitchen. Vicky's being held prisoner near the oven, so time to go save her. Basically, I had to run along the counter past the extreme mess of groceries this family has left there. Come on, put this stuff away. There's so many troops to take down, but at least there's not as much high ground for snipers to hide in. And of course, they have helicopters flying around the kitchen. I wonder if the family ever notices these things. At one point I died and had to start over, so I figured why not try to jump down the drain in the sink? Maybe there's a secret. But nah, Sarge just freezes in place and presumably gets cut up by the garbage disposal. Anyway, I made my way along the counter all the way to the oven and Vicky's there. She's upset because we can't stop Plastro since all the portals have been destroyed. Sarge thinks there should be one left where he captured the blue spy. He can't really remember where it is though. Then Sarge picks Vicky up by her head and kisses her. What the heck was that? I escorted Vicky past the rest of the troops to the other end of the counter. They don't see a way out, so Sarge suggests just jumping down where there's a big doggy waiting. They land safely, but the dog wakes up. Sarge tells Vicky to run and he'll distract it. It chases him to a door where Sarge escapes to the living room. This mission has us going through the living room to make it to the bathroom where the final portal is. There's all kinds of Christmas presents along the floor. Kinda weird, don't you usually keep them all together under the tree? And there was an unwrapped box with a Nintendo 64. Is Ganondorf on the box? What is he doing there with Bowser and Mario? When I finally got to the bathroom door, a cutscene played where General Plastro directly confronts Sarge. Sarge somehow kicks one of those blocks and knocks the troops off the box. Plastro is like, I didn't expect that, but then he's ready to shoot us. But Sarge dodges. Then that dog from before shows up and grabs Plastro like a chew toy and he cries for his mommy. I made my way to the bathroom and it was time for the final mission. Sarge recognizes the place and he's like, hope Vicky made it to the portal. This final escape is the toughest test of all. There are so many enemies everywhere, and of course lots of helicopters. I think the worst part was climbing the drawers to make it up to the sink. There's snipers who just chip away at your health while you're helpless climbing with your back turned. Attempting to take them out before climbing is scary too because they generally get free reign while trying to aim at them. Finally, I realized what was actually happening was when I killed the snipers, another one would take their place. There was 6 snipers in all, so I got in a spot where I could hit one of them and just constantly shot that area till they stopped coming back. There was no room for error in my shooting or I'd be dead. Getting past the snipers made the rest of the level so much easier. After getting to the sink, I had to secure the toilet. There was some really insane jumps here with rulers sticking out from it. Why are these on the toilet anyway? That is so unsanitary, come on. As you might guess, missing any of these jumps means instant death. I pulled a lever on the top of the toilet which opened the door to the shower. Strange layout this house has. The final challenge was making it around the rim of the bathtub to the portal. It's just like the mission from the start of the game, except, you know, way more enemies, less health pickups. There's even one of those super annoying Megazord robots. Lucky for me, I had a mortar, so I could safely blow it up from behind cover. When I got to the end of the bathtub, we found Vicky next to the portal. But before I could react, Plastro comes out with a flamethrower. He says he knew what it was like to be kibble, but now he's gonna blow us to bits. Sarge and Plastro are wrestling on the ground while Vicky just pieces out. She's like, well, at least I'm safe. The fuse on the dynamite's ticking, and lucky for us, the doggy shows back up and grabs Plastro, securing our last second escape. Meanwhile, Grimm and the rest of Bravo team are outside the portal, about to go on a rescue mission. But then Vicky and Sarge come out. They're glad to see us for sure. And then Grimm orders us to kiss Vicky. Oh god, no, don't grab her by the head again. Come on, man. But then in a huge twist, it shows Plastro next to the dog and he says the war isn't over yet. Oh man, leaving the plot open for a sequel. And finally, the credits play. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating Army Men Sarge's heroes. I was anticipating this playthrough so much. Just so many memories I had of this game, and I was excited to relive them. And well, I certainly did feel the nostalgia from it, but man, this one is a bit rough. All my memories are from the multiplayer with my friends, which I'm sure is more fun than single player, but playing this one in campaign mode is just so stressful. The biggest issue by far is the camera is just horrible in this game. There's no way around it. You can't adjust it yourself other than turning with Sarge's slow tank controls. There were so many times I just got shot by someone I had no idea existed because the camera didn't show them. Then the game has auto aim where if you're facing someone, it will aim at them for you. It's good in theory, but there were so many times where it just wouldn't aim at the enemy and I just died because there was no way to hit them. The missions are also really long and there's no checkpoints. I think I would have had so much more fun if there was just a couple checkpoints in each level. I thought the graphics were a bit below average and there was noticeable lag at many points. The music was really good, I thought, but that may have just been me feeling nostalgic for it. All in all, I gave it a 4 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 4 out of 10 for difficulty. If you do want to revisit this one, I recommend doing it in multiplayer. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. There are currently 308 games on the list. Anything could be chosen. What will we get? 3, 2, 1. 183. What is that? Oh, man. We are playing the next NBA Live game, which is NBA Live 99. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.